What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Thank you for stopping in. Today we got an exciting unboxing to dig into for you guys. Before we get started, double check and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'd love to have you here. And before you head out, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it, everyone. Really helps push the video out there so more people have a chance to check it out. And feel free to let me know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys and what you're carrying. You guys have been doing a killer job. I see more and more every single video, people letting me know what they got in the pocket, and I love just seeing the different stuff, and it gives me ideas on maybe what to pick up next, or gives me video ideas. So hearing what you have in your pocket is awesome. So keep it up, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something I decided to pick up on my travels through Amazon, a Civivi, and it's been a little while since I picked up one of these. I was trying to think the last time. It hasn't been too crazy long, but it's been a decent amount of time. But this is one that I could not let go because I am a huge fan of the designer. Typical standard Civivi affair, zippered box, stickers, microfiber cloth, just in case you are not familiar. But the mainstay of this video here is going to be this guy right here. And I believe this is called the Civivi ExOne. I'm not sure. I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is this is a Brian Brown collaboration with Civivi. And I absolutely love Brian Brown. I have a couple Jaegers. I have a Raptor. I'm a huge, huge fan of Brian Brown. And when I found out he was doing a affordable version of basically a Jaeger, because that's basically what this is. It's a run off of the Jaeger, but in a very affordable format, right? But not too crazy affordable. We're still looking at Nitro V for the steel, which is great. These are going to be very inexpensive in comparison to a Jaeger, and going to be a lot more accessible. So for the people who, really would love to get their hands on a Jaeger, but they just don't want to spend the money, they can't spend the money, well, this is going to be the way to get your hands on a Jaeger-like design. That's what this is, guys, with a little bit of a Civivi twist. You have their standard deep carry pocket clip there. Going to be running with some textured G10, and I think they're going to have some other variations as well. I'm not sure. I think they have a Damascus one, and I'm not sure of the handle material on that, but I know they'll have a couple different variations. But I know that the Jaegers are just a highly, highly coveted knife in the knife world. Once they kind of come around, they kind of disappear very quickly. Then when he does a drop, they disappear very quickly. So I think it's awesome that he teamed up with somebody. And Civivi is a great company, a great OEM, if you will, to kind of do something with and get a good quality out there for an inexpensive price, maintain some good materials. I told Brian, I talk to him occasionally, I guess you could say, that I would have loved to seen a micarta handle with a stonewash finish or kind of a machine satin finish. That would have been awesome, like a black or green micarta with a stonewash finish, which, if this knife is popular enough, which I'm going to guess it will be pretty popular, I think they will start to do some other variations off this. Now, we are working with Civivi's standard clip, which I will most likely change out with a milled titanium clip. I don't know why they do all this extra milling and stuff in here. I wish they'd shorten this up a little bit and then just have the hole for the screws. I get the aesthetic idea, but I don't know. I think that the less is more idea comes into play here. The less going on, the better it looks, because that's what you're going to see in the pocket. But it is going to carry nice and deep once that milled clip goes onto this knife, it will not carry as deep. There'll be a little bit poking out there, which I don't mind one little bit. This is going to be more of your mid-size knife. It's not going to be quite getting into that large or full-size knife. We're going to be right at like 7 3/16 or so for your overall length. So quite a bit short of what I would consider full size. And then we're looking at about a 2 3/4 inch cutting edge, and then about a 3 1/8 of total edge. So it's going to be a good size for many people. It will cut out them 3-inch and under areas, or 2.5-inch and under areas. Yes, they do exist. Whether you believe or know that or not, there are areas in the U.S. where I believe 2.5 inches is the max in certain jurisdictions. And one thing I'm noticing here is not only does this have a coating, but it's got a nice black washed finish to it. When it hits the light just right, you can see that nice washed effect, which looks really good. I think if this was a shiny PVD, it wouldn't look near as good. If they end up offering titanium handles for this knife, I would probably go with those and snag those, but I do have a clip that I can put on this pretty much immediately, I think. And if not, I'll have to pick one up, but this knife will get a milled clip for sure, just for aesthetic purposes. If you want something functional or more functional, then this would probably be the way to go. Why don't we go ahead and we'll see what kind of edge they put on this bad boy, Nitro V. And we have some telephone book paper here, and they put a laser beam on this thing. I remember when Brian Brown kind of teased these a couple months back, and I kind of put my 2 cents in. Just basically Nitro V or 14C and micarta, and then a couple different finishes on the blade. Now, I think all they did was G10, and maybe they did do a micarta one. I'm trying to remember, but I think most of them were G10. There might have been one micarta, but why do I feel like there was? Maybe it wasn't available when I went to get it, but if they come out with some titanium scales for this thing, like I said, I'll be all over this. And why don't we, for comparison's sake, bring out a couple of the knives that this is basically modeled over, basically. So this is going to be the Jaeger V2 non-flipper edition. So we just have the cutout, but what this knife, the ExOne, is more similar to is going to be the flipper version of the Jaeger. They did do flippers in the V2, but in the V3, I picked up the flipper version, which is what I wanted. And that's what it's going to be more like. It's going to have that flipper. Now, instead of a cutout like the Jaeger does have, which they could have easily done, they went with the fuller, which is fine with me. It is a little bit more of a pronounced angle to that tip. Not much, but a little bit more. It's still very sheep's footy. You got that nice straight edge. And, you know, you could say this is even potentially a little bit better for poking and piercing compared to the Jaegers. Now, you're still going to be able to poke and pierce with the Jaegers, but this one just has, if you look here, it's a very subtle change in angle, but there is a little bit more of an angle there to that tip. So this is going to be a very good utility style knife here in a lot of different ways. Now we do have this area here. It's not going to be much for a finger choil, maybe like a quarter choil. You can get the fingertip in there if you really have something you need to get a lot of control over. You could do the old fingertip, but as far as a full finger choil, you're going to be on top of that blade, and that's not something you want to be doing if you're doing any sort of cutting. But because of the way this is designed, you can kind of get your middle finger up on this choil area, and still get up on that tip for a controlled, precise type tip cut if you need to. And then you can always get up here with kind of a pinch grip. This is going to be very easy to do so. Good access to that liner, and they do put some jimping and kind of like a semi-chamfer in there, but some really nice fine jimping in there. Very easy to disengage. The knife is centered. I don't know if we said that, but it is centered. And is there any detent lash? I don't feel any lashing in there. I don't feel, there's no pivot lash. As far as lockup, which we will check, there's no up and down play. And there's no side-to-side play either, which is very good. We'll check that lock. So we'll get the old whacker out here and double check this lock mechanism. We are looking at a very early lockup. I would say 25% or so. Not an indication that there's any issues. I've seen plenty of knives with very early lockup that do just fine. So I have no reason to suspect otherwise. Civivi typically does a very good job with their geometry on their locks. Very good. One more. Nice and locked out. Very good. Very, very good. Nice and solid in there. Excellent job. I'd love to see them do an upgraded version of this knife. And I don't know. I'm going to guess if this does very well, I guarantee We Knives will pick up a design with Brian Brown, and they'll do some sort of, you know, mid-premium type production knife with Brian Brown. You know, kind of the same aesthetic here, but they will do 20 CV like they always do, which is fine. And then some sort of titanium with a possible inlay or something like that. But I think that would be really sweet, and that would probably be the first We knife that I would buy in quite some time. Don't buy a whole lot of We knives, but if they collaborate with Brian Brown, I will probably pick one of them up. As far as the action, guys, the flipper tab is very well done. You can get a nice light switch in, nice push button in. The reverse flick, you have plenty of fuller there. It's nice and deep, so you'll be able to flick off that fuller pretty much anywhere. You can be up tight up here, which is going to give you a little bit stronger feel, a little bit lighter of a feel, but not so much. And then an easy thumb flick there. Very solid. And I think these are they're right around $60 maybe, I think, or something like that. I honestly didn't even look because there was a very limited amount when I went to pick one up. So I just kind of picked one that looked good and kind of ran with it. I figured this one would be a very solid option anyway. Can't go wrong with the black on black look, and with that black wash, that really gives this thing a solid look. This is going to be a perfect secondary style knife, and now that I have this one here, I will probably substitute this in more so for, you know, instead of beating the hell out of this one, which I've been using this quite a bit, you know, this will kind of supplement for these two, and I'll be able to kind of, you know, still use these, but kind of keep these in a little bit better shape and really beat the piss out of this one and not feel bad about doing it. But yeah, guys, if you want or have ever wanted a Jaeger in some form or fashion, this is going to be the way to do it and do it affordably. And if you want, you know, you could probably cut that flipper tab off, or maybe not. Might be able to do some of it so it's kind of flush here, but it looks like the stop pin is going to be using that. But you might be able to take some of that off to the point where you basically delete it, but leave enough for it to use that stop pin still. Double check that though before you go and have that done, or do it yourself. But I like the flipper. I'll be leaving it alone. Gives you that extra deployment method, and because it's done so well, I will definitely be leaving that thing alone. But solid build from Civivi, and as always, a fantastic design from Brian Brown. Love it, love to see it, and I hope we see more of this with other companies or with Civivi. How about a Raptor type budget version? That would be awesome. You guys will have to let me know. What do you think of Civivi and Brian Brown going in this direction with this affordable model? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Would you like to see more of this? More of these designers who put out knives like these come together with some of these companies and put out budget versions of them? Me personally, I'd love to see it. You'll have to let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Always appreciate it, everyone. If you're new here, we release videos just like this one every single day. Hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell. I'd love to have you here. Otherwise, guys, I'll throw up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thanks again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.